So, here's what we got going on for tonight's episode of Casper's Box Never Ends is fiberglass mat. Yes. I'm going to stick some fiberglass mat in these corners, try to round them. I think the Bondo was not bad, you know. I gotta sand on it some more, but I can sand on that with the resin. I'm not gonna do this one yet until I sand it more. But instead of Bondoing these and taking up more of my fucking airspace for just barely a curve, I think this fiberglass mat is going to give me the curve that will be just fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab. I'm going to paintbrush them with the old cheapo paintbrush. And to get them on there and stuck really well. And then I'm going to have to sand that. After it all dries later, and then fiberglass the whole damn box. But yeah, fiberglass mat, and then I have some here by Wally World or wherever the fuck you desire. But it's about to get a little louder. I got my door open tonight. I'm getting ready to turn my old gangster fan on up there, and probably I'm gonna breathe some really horrible fumes. But, yeah, you know, I don't have a respirator sitting around here. But I have pretty good ventilation, I would say. I want to get this shit rocking. But first, I got to cut. I got to cut pieces and get them ready. Because once you mix this fiberglass, there's no fucking around. It's do it or lose it. Because it hardens fast. So I have to get these pieces cut, laid up to where they go. And then mix my fiberglass and get to dabbing with the quickness. Okay, now it's time to do some not so fun stuff. Have some of these cut, and they will go in the corners like so, kinda. I'm gonna try to make them in there round. Fuck. This stuff's a bitch. All these stupid little hairs hanging off. Gotta be careful with them, getting in the wrong places. And if you've ever played with resin, you'll know that after you put it somewhere, it pretty much, you're working with sandpaper after that. There's no taking it back. So yeah, onto this fun ordeal. Maybe lose about 50 or a million, however many brain cells from some resin. But I've never done this before. I've only messed with fiberglass mat on my Civic a couple times, and I put some down in my floorboard in here, but never in a box. So I'm hoping this goes well. If not, I'll find out. But hey, you know, fucking you don't know until you experiment. So yeah, gotta mix, and of course while I'm mixing stuff I can't film it because you mix and you go. There's no fucking around getting out of camera. So see what it looks like. Couple notes. Okay, for one, I mixed you know, not a whole lot in here. I made me a little liner because I'm too cheap to buy the damn liners. I mixed enough that I thought I'd be able to dab these guys on, and it's just, I feel like dabbing is a bad idea. You have to completely coat it to get it on there right. Number two, do not fucking leave them strands hanging off there. I thought, oh, you know, I'll push them to the side, no big deal. Well, if they get resin on them and they're hanging over here to the side and then they dry, you're gonna have a big fucking line in your shit. So you know, these ain't bad. I can cut them off. I got them up here, but I had a couple, you know, like these guys. They were causing me serious problems, and you pull on them barely, it fucks your whole mat up. You know, it'll pull your whole mat off of there, and you want it to be even and as flat as possible, because you know this does take a lot of resining or sanding when you're done with it. So you know, when you do this, keep in mind you got to sand this down, and the more fucked up you do it, the more you're gonna have to sand. And it's like Bondo. To me, with Bondo, I always feel like, you know, it's not gonna be that bad, and then the next thing you know, you're sanding it and you're like, oh my god, this sucks. Lots and lots of sanding. So yeah, cut the fucking strands off of it. What a bitch, man. Such a bitch. Bitch. Alright, so here's the dealio. These two are not horrible. That one sucks balls. That's going to be a pain in the ass when it dries. Those two over there weren't so bad. Because, of course, doing this side first, I learned a couple lessons. One, you cut all the bullshit, as much of this shit off here as you can, which you cut one off and it feels like another one gets pulled out, but you do the best you can. So those went pretty damn smooth. And I mixed enough resin to lay them on thick. And, you know, you kind of learn your techniques and shit as you go. I'm talking like I've done this before. I fucking haven't. But, you know, I kind of roll it down the middle. That helps it stick so you don't have to keep touching it with your gloves, which you got to have gloves when you do this. Because if your gloves get any resin on them at all and then you start touching this stuff, it starts just pulling the strands out. So I kind of held the top and kind of rolled down the middle, you know, with big globs of resin. Not globs, but, you know, a good thick coating to kind of keep it. And then I kind of fanned it out to kind of get it smooth. And then I went, you know, overlapped a lot. And this one I mixed quite a bit because I mixed it for both of them. So I had enough to do a bunch over there, which that'll all get done again. But I could keep going. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry and see how it turns out to make sure it's not all fucked up and stupid. Because I can't take that back. I can't take those off. Once this dries, it's on there. I mean, I guess I could cut it off or do something, but I don't want to. So I'm going to let that dry. These four corners here, see how that does. And then if it's good, I will continue on with the rest of my corners. Also, I need more gloves because these are the gloves I use. I normally buy these. This is the Gorilla Grips. They're awesome. They're really, really strong. It's really hard to rip them, but they're expensive. And when you touch this resin, they're done. I mean, they're like, I've gone through 3 pairs already because every time I have to touch the fiberglass mat to cut the strands off of it, it just, if there's any resin on that glove at all, it just rips it to shreds. You know, it grabs every little strand and just won't let go. So I need to get some cheaper gloves because I'm burning through expensive gloves. Expensive to me because I'm not a rich guy. And see how these turn out. And then hopefully it'll be awesome and I can get the rest of them and go from there. Still going, bitches.